it'll just be you. Just be you on your own. And we'll see how we get on.
I've said to all you guys, crack on with him.
Yeah.
But I did always say from the get-go,
Yeah.
it probably will be weird to see it in person. You never see your ex crack on in person. I don't know why I keep getting upset.
So let me get this straight. Molly was okay flirting with Chris, kissing Chris on the terrace, and then, you know, letting it just go quiet and sort of not say anything to Cullam. Now Cullam is interested in exploring a connection with Georgia. It's now a big deal. Now she's crying. Now she's in her feelings. Make it make sense. I hate how territorial the girls can be. I hate how territorial the girls can be. That's just my opinion. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island UK All Stars, Season 1, Episode 7. So the episode starts with the guys going to the hideaway. Everybody's excited, they're ecstatic. You know, the guys are happy that they finally get to go and see Arabella. You have, you know, the girls talking, and somebody mentions that Toby has a history with Arabella. And it's like, why? You can see that Georgia S is already in a vulnerable position. Why would you want to say that, knowing how easily she can be broken because of how she feels about Toby? The boys go in the hideaway, and you can see Mitch is really keen. Mitch is really going to put his best foot forward. It's surprising that some of the guys in the hideaway were very quiet. The guys you would have expected to be very loud or to say something were very quiet. Cullam only spoke about the fact that he's coupled up with Molly, and he's confused about that. He's trying to sort of understand where they are and where they're going in their couple. Lewis barely said anything, and it's like, I thought you'd have been the ones to say a lot more, given the fact that, you know, she seems to be more your type. Apparently, she was on the same season with Anton, so maybe that's why Anton didn't say much. But Mitch and Chris were really laying it on thick. They were really laying it on thick. You could tell that they were really interested, and they were letting it be known. And the fact that Mitch sort of threw it in there that, oh, I shared a kiss with Liberty in bed, but, you know, I'm still very open. And it's like, you're making it seem as though you did Liberty a favor by kissing her, not because you really were feeling her that way. That's really bad. I didn't like that. Turns out Arabella and Toby have a past, as has already been mentioned by the girls, and it's like, why? What is Toby telling these girls that is winning them over, and they're so smitten, and he can just walk away and they stay behind and are broken because Toby has moved on? I don't get it. I really don't. I'm curious to find out what it is Toby is selling to these girls and why, you know, they're also smitten by him, given the fact that he's way younger than them, and yet he's able to sort of, he's got a lot of riz, Toby. He's got a lot of riz. You then have, you know, a little dance party, which I thought didn't make sense. And Hannah has a chat with Georgia S because Georgia S is heartbroken. She can't understand how they went from cuddling up in bed to Toby saying he's suddenly open to getting to know Molly, because that to her doesn't make sense. She thought they were in a good place. She didn't think that there was any possibility that they were going to try and explore anything with anybody else. So the idea that Toby suddenly coming up with this doesn't make sense to her. And I like the fact that Hannah told her the truth and said, you're a very good looking girl. A lot of guys are interested in you here, but they haven't really been sort of making any efforts to get to know you because you seemed all in on Toby. So if you say you're open, then I have a feeling that the guys are going to step up and are going to start pursuing you. But at the moment, they weren't doing anything because they were waiting for you and Toby to sort of let it be known whether you're closed off or whether you're still interested in getting to know them. And so I hope, if nothing else, Georgia S actually takes it on board and actually listens and doesn't let Toby and his wrist sort of take her away, and then she completely loses herself and starts breaking down just because, you know, Toby is not in it. I don't know. So you have the guys and Arabella come out of the hideaway, and, you know, Georgia S is saying, I want to see who will be next to her when she comes out. And surprise, surprise, it's Lois. And it's like, has the editing not shown us that Lois is really interested in her? What is it? Make it known. Let us know what's going on so that, you know, we truly understand, but the producers are going to be shady and messy. Anyway, the girls then sit down with Arabella, have a chat about her date, and sort of try to suss out where she stands or who she's interested in. And she is smart because she told them that at the moment, I don't know who is my number one, and I'm not going to say anything. So we'll see how that goes. I'm really trying to understand Molly. I'm struggling. Anyway, she's there by the fire pit with the other girls, and somebody asks Arabella, do you have a history with Toby? And she said yes. And so she's sort of asked, what do you mean by history? And she explains. And then as soon as she explains that, you know, we did have a fling and it ended over a year and a half ago, then we text, and then I got in a relationship. And Molly quickly shuts it off like, oh, okay, that's it. Let's move on. And I think some girls were trying to be messy. They can see that at the moment, Georgia S is vulnerable. And instead of them being there to support her, they're trying to be as messy as they can so that they can bring up more dirt. I don't know whether it's because they're not secure in their couple, so they want her to be the same, or whether they're just trying to get the truth for her. That didn't make sense. And then Chris is going to put people off all the time because he's asking Toby, what's your history with Arabella? Did you have sex with her? Did you? And I like the fact that Toby was a gentleman and didn't say anything. He just said no. And they all couldn't believe him because they knew that he was lying, but he didn't go into, oh yeah, I had sex with her. Oh, she's this, that. No, he was very much a gentleman and just kept it to the basics, which I really love. And then you now have Cullam and Molly having a conversation. And I personally don't understand what they don't understand about that conversation. From my point of view, Cullam is saying to Molly, you chose me to be in a couple, so I assume you still are interested in me and want to see where this thing goes. So I've been trying to pull you for chats, but it seems you are not doing the same. Are you not interested in pursuing anything with me anymore? Are you just with me because I'm the person you're the most comfortable with in the villa at the moment? And Molly's, oh, well, I want you to be tested because you say you haven't been tested. So until somebody comes in that tests you. And it's like, if you're really interested in this guy, why would you sit there and wait for somebody else to try and sort of explore a connection with him to see if it works or not? Because what if it does work with that person? Then what happens? Are you trying to see if your relationship is strong enough to withstand anything else? Or are you really interested in this guy and you really want to make things work? And I think this is where he's coming from. So for them to clash over that didn't make sense, and for her to storm off and have everybody in the villa notice that she's upset doesn't make sense, because now she starts crying and the girls are trying to console her, and it's like, it's simple. Do you still want to get to know this guy, or are you ready to move on? If you're ready to move on, let him know so that he can seriously graft somebody. Because at the moment, he's not grafting anyone hard because he thinks he's still got a chance with you. And he's still pulling you for chats. He's still trying to do these things that will make you happy. But it seems you are not making the effort. And just provide clarity. I personally don't get why everyone is territorial, given that this is their second time round on Love Island. Some of them is their third time round. And so the reason why some people are crying and are making a big deal, especially people like Molly, doesn't make sense to me, given the fact that she's already broken up with this guy. She's told him, you know, she's open to exploring connections. He said he's open. And now that it's his turn to sort of ask for clarity so that he can explore connections, she's suddenly in her feelings. And you have Georgia H. Georgia H is going to live her best life in the villa. She is going to live her best life in the villa because she has this conversation with Anton briefly, and then we see her hug Anton. And then from there, she goes straight across to lay on the daybeds with Josh and is hugging and is sort of flirting with him. And it's like, which is it? Let Anton know you're not interested so that he can really graft somebody else, so that he can try and explore a connection with somebody else, instead of putting him at risk whereby, you know, he ends up not finding someone just because he was waiting for you to string him along. That I didn't like. That I didn't like at all. So the Islanders get ready for bed, and then you have you know, Molly moaning to Anton about how you know, she's very confused about her coupling with Cullam. She doesn't feel like he's putting in as much effort as he needs to. And it's like, then tell him. He thinks he's doing everything you want him to do. You're saying he's not doing. So what is he not doing? Tell him what he's not doing and see if he's going to put in the effort. If he doesn't, this is your opportunity to move on and find somebody else, instead of continuing to go around the same hamster wheel about the same thing all the time that I didn't get. And the fact that you have Liberty going on about her connection to, you know, Mitch. I really like Mitch. I really like Mitch that. And it's just like, oh, this is getting old. We're tired. Can we talk about something else? Mitch is not feeling you as much as you're feeling him. So for you not to see that, you're choosing to be selectively blind, because it's as obvious as anything that Mitch really doesn't feel you that way and he really doesn't like you that way. So if you cannot pick up on that, then sorry, there's nothing we can do to help you. All the islanders go to bed, and then you have Liberty kissing Mitch in bed, and it's like, which is it? Do you know that Mitch has no feelings for you, or are you going to continue to make out with Mitch in bed and hope that will turn him? Which is it? Make it make sense. Anyway, in the morning, we have some sort of mini debrief. You have Anton have a little meditation session with Georgia H, and that's good for him. I think it comes and it gives him something to focus on, something to sort of distract himself away from whatever else is going on in the villa. And I hopefully it allows him to look around and realize that maybe Georgia H is not for him and he needs to try and focus on somebody else. You have the guys having a conversation with Cullam, sort of saying he doesn't know where he stands with Molly and he wishes they would get some clarity, because she's asked him to do certain things. He's tried to do the things that she's asked for and it still seems it's not enough. She is complaining to the girls that, you know, if he's here for her, then he needs to make it known that he's there for her, and she thinks he's going to explore something with Georgia H. And it's like, but he's tried to speak to you. You haven't given him clarity, so he has the right to explore. You've told him that, you know, he hasn't had the chance to explore connections, so he's going to go off and try and explore connections with other people. If he likes it, hey. If he doesn't, hey. But at least he will have tried it, so it's up to you. Hopefully it doesn't work out with Georgia H, but if it does work out with Georgia H, then that's your loss. And then she goes in the changing room and starts crying, and it's like, this is becoming a bit too much. This is becoming too much. Is it you are dealing with other things outside of the breakdown of your relationship, or is it the relationship that you're dealing with? For the girls to continue to say, oh, you know, you really cared about him. Ask her the reason why she's not giving him what he was asking for. Ask her that, instead of you focusing on, oh no, you really were in love with him, you really cared for him, and this is why you feel so broken. Oh, please, give her something else. You can see that everybody's scrambling because you have Mitch having a conversation with Arabella. I don't know how Mitch thinks he's got a shot with Arabella, really. I don't know. I think he's just trying to put it out there and hoping that she will bite. I think he's going to be messy Mitch until the very end. And so he does explain that he kissed Liberty in bed, and he sort of throws it out there as though this is something that he normally does with people when he's in bed with them. He's all cuddly feely, and it's like, Mitch, just tell the truth that you're trying to keep Liberty sweet, so you're going to do anything and everything to keep her sweet. And you have Liberty complaining, oh, why is he talking to Arabella? I thought he and I had a good connection. And it's like, until you close yourself off, he's still open to getting to know other people. And sadly, I don't know why Mitch always attracts these people that are very clingy. This is the same thing that happened with Abby on his season, and now he has Liberty clinging on to him. So Liberty decides to explore a connection with Chris, and it's like, why? I don't even remember whether she stepped up for him on day one. It doesn't make sense. I think she's just looking for a plan B, and she knows all the girls are put off by Chris, so she knows he's not going to have someone, and I think this is why she's decided to step up to him. He just makes some stupid jokes. Chris turns off girls without knowing it, because his corny jokes sadly don't fall. He will need a special type of girl who understands what he's trying to say, or who sort of feels what he's saying, to sort of explore a connection with. Otherwise, he's always going to give all these girls the ick, and he's going to end up going home just because he doesn't know how to pull it back. You then have Georgia S have a conversation with Arabella, and I'm happy that they spoke about it in private when it was just the two of them. And Arabella tells her the truth that, yeah, I did have sex with Toby. And it's like, oh my God, Toby's got the riz. He's in the background. They're just chilling, and they are sort of trying to sort of suss each other out to see who he likes and why he likes them. And it's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Toby is too young for these girls. Toby is still too young. He's still a player. His girl maybe is that he's going to settle down with. Maybe he's in university at the moment, or he's just finishing high school. I don't think he's ready for a seriously committed relationship at this point. So we'll see how that plays out. Oh my God, Chris comes with the corny line to sort of pick up Arabella and break up a conversation with Georgia S. And it's like, oh God. Make it stop. Make it stop. It's too painful to watch. And then you have the Islanders sort of prepare for the night. And, oh God, it's the same thing. Josh is now talking to Chris about his conversation that he had with Molly. He knows he's there for Georgia H, but he wants to see if he can explore something with Molly, and he's thinking of kissing Molly. And it's like, oh my God, can these boys not pick up a girl without kissing her? Look at Toby. He has them crying for him, and yet he's not kissing them. Why do you always have to make everything sexual in order for you to be able to land someone? This doesn't make sense to me, and I don't know why they think it's okay for them to sort of make it a sport of going to kiss Molly. I hope she doesn't allow it. I hope she doesn't allow it, because this is going to now create tension between her and Georgia S, because Georgia S is going to be upset that she's kissed the guy that she's interested in. So after drinks, you have Cullam having a conversation with Georgia S. And I feel like if Molly's not careful, this is the beginning of the end of her relationship with Cullam, because Cullam sort of explains to Georgia S that he's struggling because Georgia S has already let Molly know that, you know, the only other person she's interested in is Cullam, and Molly has given the green light. So you have this conversation whereby Cullam is telling Georgia S that, you know, I've come in here, I've seen Molly, I was going to choose you first if Molly hadn't come, but anyway, I've seen Molly, I've tried to make things work, I'm trying to do everything she wants me to do, but it seems like she's not receiving what I'm giving. And so for me, I'm just going to leave it at that and see what happens, because I'm not going to push for something that's not there, and I'm not going to force a connection with anybody else. And Georgia S agrees that she's not going to force a connection with somebody else, but she's open to getting to know Cullam because she really likes Cullam. And Cullam, you know, he's ecstatic because he really likes Georgia S as well. And so during this conversation, you now have Molly crying, saying, oh, I told you girls that I wanted you all, you were free to get to know him, but saying it is heartbreaking. And it's like, well, how do you think he felt when he heard that you kissed, you know, Chris on the very first, if not the second day? How do you think he felt? So if you are open to him exploring connections to see if he can get anything stronger than what he has with you, you should then be open to saying it, because in this place, there's no way he can hide it. And she agrees that Georgia S is a great girl. And I think this is now what is making her nervous. I think had it been anybody else, Arabella or whoever, she wouldn't be worried. But because she knows that Georgia S is a quality woman, she's now worried that this, you know, Cullam is going to find what he's been looking for in Georgia S, and there's no way he's going to come back to Molly. But hey, it is what it is. You have Lewis and Demi having a conversation. For me, that couple, I'm off them. I can't wait for them to go home, because I think Demi's fake nice. And the fact that she is there saying, oh, I don't want to smother you, this is why I try and keep away from you. Because during the day she was telling the girls, oh, it's nice that, you know, even though Arabella has come in, she still likes me, so I think we have something strong there. It's like, oh, okay, if that's what you think, good for you. But I don't see it. I think he's just with you until his person comes in. It's sad, but I think the producers are going to milk the square. Cullam, Molly, Toby, and Georgia S. Because, you know, Georgia S has a conversation with Hannah, sort of seeking advice on what to do, because Toby has avoided her the whole day. And I think Toby is trying to sort of see where he stands before he comes to Georgia S. I think he really likes her and is worried that if he goes all in and if she likes somebody else, then he's stuck. And it's a pity that Cullam has now set his sight on Georgia S and is going to go guns blazing, it seems, until he wins her. Or if he doesn't work out, then he'll go back to Molly. And Toby and Molly have a conversation, and they're sort of discussing what's going on with Jojo S and where Toby stands. And sadly, the two of them have left their partners to sort of explore connections with other people. And it might be the people that they came in with or the people they were interested in are going to move on as a couple, and they're going to be left in the wind. And I don't think Molly and Toby see each other in a romantic sense. I think they might want to explore it, but I don't think Toby is really as much into Molly as she might appear, or she would eventually be into him. I think she'll just be one of the girls that would be, oh, I've got a history with Toby, and that's it. And sadly, Messy Mitch has found himself in the crosshairs of Liberty, and now he's in trouble. And one thing about Mitch is he's not fazed about anything, because he has a conversation with Arabella. He's flirting with her. Liberty is seething because it seems Mitch hasn't pulled her for a chat, and she feels like he's playing with her. He's keeping her in his back pocket, and that's the truth. And so she goes to moan to the girls about this, and then eventually, you know, Demi lets her know that Mitch was telling her that she's his number one, and so she's upset that he's been telling her she's his number one, and he's been telling Demi that, you know, she's his number one. And it's like, did you not watch Mitch's season? This is who he is. This is what he does. So she confronts him in front of people, and it's just like, maybe that's not it. Because Mitch is not one person to react. Mitch is very calm in his messiness. He's not going to be very loud or scream or whatever. You will scream and wail and throw a tantrum. And then when you're ready, you'll calm yourself down and come back and talk to him. The same way he did it to Lois. The same way he did it to Zach on his season. That's who Mitch is, and that's who he will continue to be. We'll see how it plays out tonight. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 5. Bye guys.